What is up, guys? Welcome to Diggity, a video game podcast, episode number 241. I'm Jeff James. With me, as always, the incredible, unobtainable, luscious Brody Faltz, bringing you the incredible, unobtainable news. It is obtainable, but we kind of amalgamate it all into one thing, and that's why you're listening to this fucking podcast. It's kind of how that works.
That's right. Yeah, we try to put a fun spin on it, so you don't have to just sit there and read boring articles from Kotaku and bullshit like that.
That's right.
Also, I wouldn't recommend doing that anyway.
No, don't do that at all. That's not a good idea.
Don't do that.
That's a fucking terrible idea. That's the worst. The worst idea.
It's gonna come out later. It's gonna come out later that Kotaku is the leading cause of cancer.
Oh God! Wow.
Yep. Social cancer.
Speaking of social, follow us on social media at Diggity Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, as well as go check out the WASD and Beyond Boys on Apple Podcasts. We're good friends with them, and they're good people. Also, check out OBO Podcast if you like just four big guys talking about random stuff. That's the place to fucking be, my dudes. Absolutely go check that out.
Yeah.
Other than that, if you're listening to the podcast for the first time, welcome. I'm sure you're confused by now. My name's Jeff. This is Brody. Each week we bring you beautiful, beautiful, beautiful video game news each and every single week with no bullshit, blunt opinions, and also have a good fucking time on here. We also have good guests on here from time to time as well. So if you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button in whatever podcast platform you listen to. And you can also check the live show, the video version of this podcast, every Thursday evening, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, because that's the best time zone. The best. Every other time zone sucks, is inadequate compared to the Eastern time zone. So 9:30 Eastern on YouTube and Twitch. With that, what have you been playing?
I have been playing pretty much Guardians of the Galaxy. That's about it. I have not played a whole lot of anything else this weekend. Was kind of busy, and I just we got home late, and we're just kind of busy most of the time. So I didn't really get to play anything much over the weekend until like Sunday, and just still kind of grinding through Guardians. I'm at chapter 13 or 14, or getting ready to finish up chapter 13, and then I think I have 14, 15, and 16 left. So hopefully a couple more nights and I'll have this all wrapped up, I think.
Dude, you've made a fucking dent in that thing.
It's been taking a little bit for sure. It's like I think it comes out to like 20 hours or something. The average time to beat was 19, I believe, and I'm probably approaching that. Completionist was like 24 hours, so I think I'll probably finish up around like 22 or so, somewhere in that ballpark. But awesome. Really, other than that, I don't think I've played much else.
Oh, I've played some Overwatch as usual. I picked up a new game on Steam, Parkitect, which is kind of like a fan recreation of Roller Coaster Tycoon, like 1 and 2, where it was like isometric, but it's still 3D. I don't like what they did when they went to like Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 and like Coaster World and stuff like that, where everything's like super 3D and it just looks dumb. It looks kind of stupid. Like everything's really doughy. So I've been playing that. It's really cool. There's some like really neat shit into it. Like it's well beyond the normal Roller Coaster Tycoon, where it's like, hey, you put a burger stand in. Like every single like place needs utilidors and proper like inventory management and stuff like that. So it's like super hardcore sim stuff. So I've been playing that. Played some NHL 22, of course. Been ripping that. Been having a lot of fun with that. Really like it a lot. And I think I like it more, not necessarily on the changes that they've made, because, I mean, the changes, let's face it, are pretty minimal. I enjoy it more on the basis of how quick it fucking loads.
Yeah, SSDs are fantastic.
Like how quick it loads, how quick I can get into the game. You know, I can click X and it doesn't like do like a weird transition. If I want to skip the face off, it just like boom immediately. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think
that's the biggest thing about this console generation that I love. Just how quick everything loads. Oh my God,
it's great.
To the point where like I just upgraded my PC and put some more SSD storage in there because I was very, very limited on what I had. I pretty much had enough SSD to run my operating system, and that was about it.
Oh, not good.
No, not good. So everything was ran off of a hard drive, and it took forever to load into like Forza Horizon 5.
Hmm.
Forever. I mean, it was. I could probably. It will probably come out on PlayStation before it will load on my PC. So
God.
luckily that will be fixed now. But I just man, like loading that up on Xbox, it's like almost instantaneous. You used to be able to like sit there and look at all your stats come up across the bottom of the screen, and had a bunch of time to sit there and stare at that. And now you don't even really get to read like the tips and loading screens anymore, and I'm okay with that. That is fine.
Yeah, no, I'm curious though on that because over the course of time, as games become more, crazy and bigger and stuff like that, is it going to be able to keep up? You know what I mean? Like, is it going to be able to actually keep up with the demand of that, or is it going to turn into like another technology where all of a sudden now we go from having fast stuff to like there's going to be more wait times of stuff? Also, a lot of stuff is cloud based now. Well, the direction points in the way of loading half the game in the cloud and half on your PlayStation. So I mean, I'll be pretty interested in seeing if that fucks anything up or changes anything.
Yeah,
so that's more obviously internet wise, but.
Well, and the good thing too more so the PlayStation than the Xbox right now is we have the option to, basically put whatever SSD we want in there or M.2. I mean, there are some restrictions and definitely put a heat sink on those bad boys, but that's going to be nice because you can actually upgrade that alongside technology too if you can keep up with it and shell out the money that you're going to see as these drives continue to get better and better. Granted, they'll probably do some weird shit where they switch away from from the typical M.2 and it's going to be like completely different ports on it and just leave everybody else behind because they have to change the goddamn port every time they do it. It's so
absolutely. Yeah, you can't not have a proprietary port on there, my man. That's your gatekeeper, dude. That's
right.
You get your licensing money for made for PlayStation or made for
thanks
Xbox.
For
you gotta get
the
those
whole
royalties,
proprietary Seagate drive.
No, exactly.
I saw one the other day on Reddit on PartSwap or something, and it was like $140 is what they wanted for it, and it's normally $220. I almost jumped on it, but I figured at that point I'd be in trouble because I just bought a new graphics card and a new SSD. I'm like, I should probably slow down for a little bit.
Well, should we get started with our first kind of piece of news here?
We sure should.
All right, dude. So, Metroid Prime 4 has been this, huge debacle in the community of, is this thing alive? Is it dead? And more importantly, kind of when is it coming out? Obviously, this has been, it's officially, obviously, it was delayed. And then it was rumors that came out, or was it Nintendo officially coming out saying that they basically scrapped and are redoing everything? Like what?
Nintendo straight up came out and said that.
All right. So
Nintendo they did it in one of the directs.
And then we kind of haven't heard much. We thought we might hear something maybe around Game Awards. Metroid Dread kind of feels, although it's a good game, feels like a placehold and something to put out for, to keep the fans kind of busy and also to have something to play. It's not a bad game. It's a pretty decent game. But today, there's news that broke of Metroid Prime 4 Retro Studios hiring tools engineers and technology engineers for the game, which is great, but also concerning. Because
you would think we'd be a little bit further along at this point, but
yes, exactly. I'm kind of, I don't know. I mean, I thought for sure this would have been like pretty deep into development already, but to be asking for those positions, is pretty nuts. And basically it came through one of Retro Studios' tweets. Essentially, they just said, we're looking for a tools engineer and a technology engineer to join us on our journey to develop Metroid Prime 4. So here's my question to you. You think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be on the Switch, or you think it's going to be on the next console?
Well, let's see. It's been, I can't remember if it was a year. It was a year and a half ago that they announced that they were basically restarting development, if I remember correctly. And I'm pretty sure the original announcement for this was like in 2017 or 2018. I don't know. It all starts to run
Yeah.
together after a while. But anyway, it's been a while since we've really seen anything about this. And then once they kind of started to rework it, I mean, they basically said they're starting over, like scrap everything, start over, burn it down. Um, I assumed we would be like 4 years out from that time, so I kind of was guessing that these positions would have already been filled at this point and that they kind of already would have been working on some of this, but maybe not. I mean, I I'm reading some of the comments on the tweet right now, and some people are saying like if you actually go into the job description, it looks like these specific positions are more, first of all, auxiliary things rather than the main game. So I'd say we still have at least another 2 years on this game. I don't think we'll see it until 2024, if not 2025, and it might be one of the last games to launch on the Switch. And
then
then
carry
whatever
over
the
into
Switch
the-
2 is, I think they'll do like like your Mario Kart 8 Deluxe type of thing, where it's like, hey, this is also going to come to whatever the new console is, and go from there. That's kind of where I'm at on it, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts too. I thought this is basically going to be like a transitional title where it comes out early 25, maybe 24, who knows? That's not a lot of time, but early 25, and then it's also announced with the next Switch 2 or whatever, which, I mean, God forbid I don't know what they're going to call it. I'm assuming Switch 2, but it's Nintendo. So they could call it the clap or something. I don't know.
Right. The snap. So job openings for Retro Studios. This is all of them that are listed right now on Nintendo's website.
Okay.
So there's a concept artist, the environment designer, material artist, character artist,
Jesus.
user interface artist, user interface scripter, technology engineer, environment artist, environment terrain artist, and tools engineer.
Okay, so they haven't even started on this.
They need the full dev team.
Maybe it's just gonna be on the next Switch. I mean, if I was them, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, it's late enough now. I understand why, obviously with Mario Kart and stuff like that, they made a killing on it. But I think for a game like Metroid, I mean, I would just be like, hey, like here's the new Switch and here's Metroid on the new Switch, and then here you go to the next one.
Yeah.
So, sorry, buddy, but I don't think you're getting a.
Yeah,
Metroid
I
Prime
think
for quite some time.
right. I think best case scenario, we see this in like 2025, right before the next console
God,
launches.
just say that for a second. 2025.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Especially, like I said, we saw this in what, 2018?
2018 is
whatever
when
it
we
was.
first saw
Got
slash
that JPEG.
got a I guess a peak, you'll call it. So that's oh my God. So 7 years it'll take
Yeah.
to get to
that's,
this. It will have missed the entire lifespan of the Switch, meaning there wasn't a Metroid Prime game on the Wii U or the Switch for 2 generations of Nintendo for 14 years. Well, no, Wii U lasted how long? Was it a 4 or 5 year? It wasn't long.
The Wii U was, I think it was like 4 years, give or take. I want to say it was 2013 to 2017 when the Switch dropped. I could be wrong, but
2012 to 2017, 5-year
2012,
lifespan.
okay. Yeah, which is pretty short for a console. I mean,
So it'll be 12 years when this releases.
ooh.
If indeed the Switch it's going to go on the next, Switch.
Right.
Or what people are saying is when the Switch is going to, go after they release the apparent Switch Pro, right, which has been discussed every year for the last God knows how long, and every month it comes up. Hey, Switch Pro, found leaks of a new Switch Pro leak.
I'm so over that.
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
incredibly sick of seeing. I mean, in the 3.5 years that we've been doing this, there's been Switch Pro rumors from the very start. I think one of our early episodes was a Switch Pro rumor episode.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I would say too, hardware wise, like the plastic covers for PS5s, that's one thing, but I think hardware wise, like you're gonna be fucking nuts if you're a company and you want to start building something right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
with all the supply chain issues right now. It's insane.
Like
Moving on.
PSVR 2.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, we don't have a fucking release date though.
No,
You know,
no,
like
we
they
do
could come
not.
out of left field and be like 2023. You know,
Crazy.
so moving on. Halo and Forza, fucking killing it for Microsoft.
Yeah.
Absolutely killing it. So, CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, God King himself, dude, unbelievable guy, said that 20 million people had played Halo Infinite and 18 million people had played Forza Horizon 5, which is insane. This makes the most successful launch in Halo history. Now,
hmm It's free
we
to
got to
play.
take that
It's
with
on
on the
Game
fact
Pass.
that it's free on Game Pass. It's also available across more platforms than ever and
Yep.
easily accessible.
hmm
Doesn't have to be physically purchased, right? It can be streamed, whatever. Um,
Right.
so, but I
Yeah,
mean,
this
still
isn't.
crazy.
This isn't counting. People that just jumped in and tried it out and then bounced out. So I mean,
Oh
that,
no, it
I'm
is.
sh- Well, no, I'm sorry. It is counting
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
the 20 million is not necessarily like obviously how many people are
Diehards.
still playing it
Yeah,
to this day or anything like
yeah.
that. But I mean, still, 20 million people at least checking your game out is no small feat. Like that is large.
No,
And then
it's
for
fantastic.
Forza, that's crazy. 18 million people for a racing game is like completely unheard of.
Yeah, and I mean, Microsoft's never going to release it, but I would be very interested in seeing of what percentage of subscribers checked it out versus who bought it. There's 25 million Game Pass subscribers,
Right.
but keep in mind also on that, a large portion of people in that subscriber field are not paying full pop still. They're paying
Yeah,
a
this is true.
discounted rate.
Yeah, for like 2 more years.
Yeah, for like 2 more years, and then that switch is going to flip, which is smart, right? Because then by
Right.
then all of their features will be built into that service, and people will just go, "Yep, I'm going to keep it. That's fine. I'll pay $14.99 or whatever a month for it at that time, or fuck, maybe it's $19.99 by that time." But yeah, this doesn't include people who just like jumped in and was like, "Nah, it's not for me," and jumped out. But yeah, Microsoft is kind of interesting on those stats always on their
Yeah.
shareholder calls. I remember, I don't know if they do it now for Windows 11 devices, but when they were notorious when it was Windows 8, they counted the Xbox One as Windows 8 devices. So they would count that under adoption of Windows 8 for their stats, which
Right.
which is kind of interesting, but I think that's kind of not a good thing. So I mean, look, Microsoft hitting it out of the fucking park,
Yeah.
with these
There are
two releases.
There are a couple things I wanted to touch on before we
Yeah, go for
get
it.
away from this topic here. But so at the end of 2020, it was announced that 24 million people had played Forza Horizon 4. That was 2 years of lifespan, though. This
Wild.
18 million comes within 4 months of launch, so that's crazy. And basically, the only thing that really beats it out is Mario Kart. But I mean, and that's still like a similar but different. And Gran Turismo, which would be, I mean, obviously one of the other major racing games.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Gran Turismo 3 A spec sold just under 15 million copies.
Wow.
So this is
Already beat
it's definitely no small feat, and I'm sure Game Pass is a huge portion of this.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
but that's what they want, right? That is exactly
Yeah,
what
it
they're going
is.
for. And
I am interested in seeing how it's going to change games over time on the basis that these are, technically free-ish to play, right? On the basis that you're paying the subscription, like you're paying a small minimal fee to try these out and get the full game.
yeah,
I imagine with that, there's going to be so many more microtransactions in games
yeah, absolutely.
that it'll be insane.
Well, Forza stuck pretty much to the same model they really always have. They have
Yeah.
like your premium tier, you have your car pass, and the premium includes like car pass, DLC, all that good stuff. Which I actually ended up getting the premium because I really enjoyed the game, and I got like early access to it and the DLCs and things like that, and I
Sure.
knew I was gonna put a bunch of time into this game, and I have. So I mean, really, I still paid. I think I can't remember if it was $40 or $50, but I mean, again, DLC, all that good stuff is included. So really, I still kind of paid for the game, but it was just through optional DLC, and I was more inclined to do that because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't purchase the game itself, which
Mm-hmm.
I think in itself is a very, very good idea, right? Like
Yeah.
Halo's included on Game Pass, so I have no problem spending a little bit of money on some cosmetic stuff here and there, which they're still tweaking all of that. Granted, I did not wait until they tweaked it, unfortunately, but yeah, it's I think it's a very smart model in the way of they're making money from the subscription, and they're also going to make money from people that are willing to buy some of the cosmetics or whatever it may be and sell that DLC, and that's where they're going to make back on their revenue and still come out on top, I think.
I
But
am super interested to see where they take the Activision stuff and if it just
yeah,
gets thrown right into Game Pass or if there's a la carte stuff or how that's all gonna work. They did make a statement again that talks
yeah.
on the metaverse with this shit, which the only thing I can take from that is World of Warcraft and VR.
Which
Um,
I don't think is like the worst thing in the world as long as you're just sticking to
well,
like
yeah,
the VR gameplay, but
the
the
metaverse
metaverse
is
stuff is where
fucking
it gets
dumb.
yeah.
Let's be
Yeah,
real,
absolutely.
dude. The metaverse
There
is
was
pretty fucking dumb.
there was also another statement, and I don't think this has been officially confirmed, but supposedly PlayStation or Sony had already been in talks with Activision for the next like 3 Call of Duty games. So supposedly
Fascinating.
those are still supposed to be cross-platform because, and if that is true,
Yeah.
Microsoft has said that they would honor any previous agreements that Sony had. So I don't know how true that is. I don't know what that actually looks like. Again, that's kind
Yeah.
of the rumor mill shit going on right now. But
Oh my god, that's gonna stew. This whole fucking
oh,
year is gonna be nothing but Activision rumor shit. That's just
it's
not true.
well, and Blizzard just announced they're working on a new survival game out of nowhere. Like a week after this announcement, and they're like, "Hey, by the way, we're doing something else that's new finally." And you're like, "What? What?" People have been waiting for you to do something new for a long time.
I just
No,
it's
all of a sudden,
crazy.
it's wild,
I'm still
man.
getting over the fact that that was bought, but yeah, they talk about
Yeah,
the metaverse, and I'm like, I mean, the fuck are you gonna do? Like the thing I've seen metaverse in now, Microsoft wise, is Microsoft Teams, but I don't want to fucking do that.
right.
Like I haven't met a single person so far that's been like, hey, you know, it'd be great taking all the things I have in life right now, digitizing them, making them more expensive and more cumbersome to use.
Yeah.
Like, you know, oh man, I hate getting, you know, black ink on my hand from using the dry erase board. Well, no worries. You can hardly write on this one in the virtual world. Like I just don't understand like where this is coming from, but whatever. Moving on, we both enjoy Star Wars heavily.
Yes.
And it is said that Respawn Entertainment is currently developing multiple Star Wars IPs, including the next Jedi Fallen Order game or successor to that game.
I'm trying to find it in this article here, but I believe there was 3 of them that were. I don't know if they officially announced 3 of them, but I did see from one of the like top
Yeah.
leakers, like
While
Warrior.
you're finding that, I'll read the press release that EA and Lucasfilm Games dropped. So the
Yeah,
press release reads as follows. Its game director Stig Asmussen and his team at the studio are already working on the next game in the action-adventure Star Wars Jedi series and are joined by 2 new teams working to deliver additional unique Star Wars gameplay experiences across multiple genres. Leading the development of Respawn's all-new Star Wars first-person shooter game is Peter Hirschman, game director at Respawn, who has a long and accomplished history with the Star Wars franchise. The third title is a Star Wars strategy game developed through a production collaboration with the newly formed studio Bit Reactor, helmed by games industry veteran Craig Forst. Respawn will produce the new Star Wars strategy game while BitReactor leads on the development of the title. So the 3 games are a strategy one, a first-person shooter, and then the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, or the Jedi series is what they're calling it. I'll tell you what, I got worries on it because Jedi Fallen Order was great. I think if they can keep to that, that's wonderful. I think when they did the Battlefront stuff, they fucked that up hard. And it looks beautiful.
But the good thing is, if it's Respawn, I have more faith in it than DICE.
Certainly. Yeah, I have more faith in it. The strategy game is going to be interesting. The first-person shooter, I'm a little worried about.
Yeah.
Because that's just Battlefront with
the
first-person mode on. But DICE did that originally. So.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. For me, personally, because I really enjoyed Titanfall. I was big on both Titanfall and Titanfall 2. Which that's what a lot of the internet is upset about, is that Titanfall 3 was obviously not announced. And if they're working on these 3 Star Wars titles, I highly doubt that Titanfall 3 is in the works. But and they're still, just milking Apex for all it's worth. But I think if they actually do work on like the next Battlefront or whatever it may be, I think it really does have potential to be pretty good. Or, there's also the option of them going more, I guess, I don't know how you do it, right? Like, it'd be cool to see like a Battlefront with a better campaign than what Battlefront 2 had, something where you're like playing as like a fucking stormtrooper or something, right? Going through and that could make your FPS part of it. But at the same time, like if Respawn works on this, their big focus is usually movement. Even in Apex, like that movement is incredible, and that's what they really excel at. And I think a Battlefront in like a more of a Titanfall style rather than the typical Battlefront would actually do very well.
Battlefront? Do you think they'll just take over that series?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Part of me thinks that it could still like have life to it. And not have the negativity that DICE had with, the issues that they had with both titles. The thing is Battlefront 2 was kind of fixed in some regards.
Yeah.
Certainly better. But when the bar was low like that, what does it take to make it mediocre, right? Not much. So I don't know. I feel like they should keep it. I feel like they should just make a Battlefront 3 and just go with it. Because I don't know what else they're going to make unless they make something where like it's a campaign style FPS, heavy campaign, and then the online is just kind of an afterthought. Like,
I assume they're going to go
something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what you do.
I assume they're still going to definitely focus on the multiplayer because that's what keeps people around like that.
Yeah.
Making a FPS just solely a story mode was probably not going to be super successful. Now with like Titanfall 2, their story mode is what a lot of people were excited about. And the multiplayer was still really, really good. I enjoyed it a lot, but it's not everybody's cup of tea for sure. Mm-hmm. But that story mode gained a lot of traction, and especially now, it's still worth picking up for. It goes on sale for like $4 or $5 all the time. It's definitely worth picking up for just that campaign alone. Now, granted, the people that are still playing Titanfall 2 are really fucking good, or they're hacking the fuck out of it because it's old enough at this point that it's one of those two things, right? But. Yeah, I feel like the FPS is kind of one of those weird things. The strategy game could be kind of cool in like a Halo Wars type of way, but hopefully better. But that's also not Respawn's general thing that they do, so that would be kind of interesting to see. And then, I'm entirely in for another Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I guess it wouldn't be Fallen Order, but whatever it may be, because I adored that game. And my sons actually played through it like 2.5 times now. He's been playing it
Jesus.
like crazy. So I think that game really did what we needed to see from a single player Star Wars game, and I have a lot of faith in Respawn, but this seems like a lot going on, and I'm a little hesitant, especially while still supporting Apex too. It's there's just a lot.
Yeah, there is a ton to it. The strategy game, I gotta admit, is not. I'm not super stoked on it. It would be kind of cool if they did like hollow chess.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
That'd be kind of neat. And then you could do it in the metaverse.
Damn it.
Right? No, I'm not. I mean, maybe they can make a strategy game that's similar to that of like an XCOM or a StarCraft.
Yeah, I mean that's another way they could take it.
Kind of.
Sure.
I think that would be kind of neat. You know, you're like droids and you're trying to assemble your army out there. That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good way to go.
Yeah, that'd be pretty. I guess that'd be something that definitely would be worth checking out. But I just really want a good fucking Battlefront.
Yeah, you and everyone else.
Yeah, I know. It's the wish of millions, but maybe one day we'll be grateful enough to get it.
I know Battlefront 2 is in a way better place than it was. We've jumped into it a couple different times to try it out, and I still I bounce off of it.
It just feels so it doesn't feel like its own game to me. It feels like a Battlefield, which don't get me wrong, that's not a terrible thing, but it feels like it's like a party mode in Battlefield where now I just get to become a stormtrooper. Like it just feels like it's a hey, here's an Easter egg. Version of Battlefield where you can now be a stormtrooper and run through. Like I don't see like big events take place, or like there's some stuff where, like when you're in Endor, the Ewoks do pull some shit, but you hardly fucking see it. The game is gorgeous. I mean, me and my brother a month ago near Christmas, we were playing it on his PS4 and it fucking looked gorgeous still. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is a beautiful game. But yeah, I'm not too keen. I'm excited for someone else to get a crack at it if that's what this is.
Right. It does definitely feel like a Battlefield mod, like a good one. Don't get me wrong, but it almost feels like a Battlefield mod because it's very identical and it's just kind of like it has a Star Wars skin over the top of it, and that's really about where it's at. And I for whatever reason I've entirely bounced off of that, and I can't fully get into it, and I'm not sure. I don't know what it is about it. I mean, granted, you also look at DICE's most recent game, Battlefield 2042, and that's a shitstorm. And
it certainly is.
Right now, DICE is in a weird spot, and I don't know really what they do with DICE if they're now transferring all of the EA development over to Respawn.
I don't know. I mean, what else will DICE do besides make engine technology? Because that's where they got Frostbite from. Right.
I don't know.
I imagine they continue to make Battlefield, at least one more. You think it dies?
Yeah. No, I don't think it dies yet. I think it would take one more very shitty launch for it to die. Where it's currently sitting, it's in very bad shape, and people have left that game in troves. Like, there's hardly anyone still playing it. And I mean, even Evan from WASD, he was big on it. He loved it. I mean, he acknowledged that there was a lot of issues, but he still had a lot of fun playing it, and he doesn't play it anymore either. He went back to what? He was playing Battlefield 5, wasn't he? Or Battlefield 1. He went back to Battlefield 1. So it's different, man. Like, everybody's just kind of switched gears and gone back to the old Battlefield games to get their Battlefield fix. I mean, I've dropped into, like, Battlefield 4 a little bit here and there, and it's just, I don't know. DICE has to do something.
Something I do want to talk about is, have you been able to take a look at a bunch of footage of Pokemon Legends Arceus? Is it Arceus? What? I mean, how the fuck do you pronounce it?
Arceus, I believe.
Arceus,
I think.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So.
Okay. Have you looked into some of this already?
So I have.
Got an 86 on Metacritic.
I was gonna say, so far there's been quite a few publications that have given it like 10 out of 10. I've seen some other people that I assume are YouTubers or something. I just saw it on Reddit where they're saying, they have 15 hours in it, which they could also be lying out their ass. I'm not sure, but right now it seems like a lot of people are keen on it, but there's also this weird scale to Pokemon that they can release dog shit and it still gets great ratings.
Yeah,
So
I mean, Sword and Shield, you and I were both kind of like, this is okay, but it's not like a gem. Like, this is just all right.
I saw one comment that pretty well summed it up, and the user said that basically they don't trust the review scores, and they also don't trust all of the like unnecessary hate for the game. They're somewhere in between, and they're like, I don't know whether to hate this game, love this game, or just
society nowadays,
right?
On anything.
So it's kind of in a weird spot. I'm not planning on buying it at release. I'm gonna wait a little bit and see how.
Does it make us old now that we
out?
Don't buy the Pokemon on release?
I think so. Yeah.
Because my thing on this is, while I think I've mentioned this before in an episode. I wanted an open world-ish. I didn't want something like this. I still want the sprite style or like chibi, smaller style, top-down or ISO top-down Pokemon. Like, this is just, when I watch the footage of this, it's like, I don't know.
We got Pearl for my kids for Christmas, and I still haven't touched it yet.
Oh, Shining Pearl or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I just don't feel like going into a Pokemon game right now. And this one's definitely, I mean, it seems like they've changed enough mechanics and done some different stuff here to kind of breathe a little bit of life into it. But my God, it looks rough from the screenshots I've seen. Like, it looks really rough.
Shining Pearl?
No. The Arceus.
Oh, yeah. So I watched. It's weird. It's like it's like every biome was split up between different teams because some biomes clearly have a ton more detail to them. And then there's some that just are lacking shit. And I mean, they're held to the bounds of what the Switch can do, right? I mean, that's reality. But yeah, it's a lot of like, it seems to me so far in what I've seen, the footage I've seen, it's a lot of, here's a ton of open space. And instead of that top down using towns and stuff and then having bushes and bushes being essentially almost akin to like a slot machine where when you roll over them, you don't know what you're going to get. Now you have to be like, well, now the player has to see the Pokemon running around. So we're going to need, 10 times the fucking room for that to happen, because otherwise you're just going to load in Pokemon right in front of them, or you're going to come up to like a question mark and that's the Pokemon. I mean, there's just, I don't know. I think it makes Pokemon not as fun for me, at least on the surface of it. I haven't played it yet. I don't know if I really want to play it.
Oddly enough,
I just fucking look at it and I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't feel right. It feels like it's like a fucking, again, a mod. It feels like someone made this thing on the side as a side project and they're in there. But I just, it looks so open and boring.
Yeah. Yeah, they show like the character standing up on a mountaintop looking out, and there's like
fucking
patches
nothing.
Of trees. Yeah, it's like a couple patches of trees and nothing else. And the weirdest thing to me is that my kids aren't even interested in it. And I don't know if that's more from a marketing standpoint or what, but they have not mentioned it one time. Which my kids are usually pretty big on the Pokemon stuff. I mean, but now they just
some weird stuff with Pokemon, right? Where I consider this an offshoot brand.
Yeah, like
on the basis as Pokemon Legends, like Hey You Pikachu and
Gale of Darkness back on the GameCube type thing.
I mean, even like Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, right?
Yeah.
Like I look at this as, while it's bringing a new mechanic to the game and a new feature that people have asked for. It's not at the root of itself an actual normal Pokemon game, I guess. I don't know. I just, maybe it's all the Pokemon games I played as a kid, and I'm just kind of stuck on that. Hey, I want to see, like,
Yeah.
bushes that you run through, and oh my gosh, I found this, because we got a little taste of this in Sword and Shield, and I didn't like it.
Right.
I was
And
kind of
but
just
the weird
like,
part is the weird part about that is that a lot of people did like that open world, and they still were clamoring for it. And then now that we're getting it, I feel like a lot of people are like, well, we fucked up. Maybe we shouldn't have done that. Maybe we don't want what this actually is. But regardless of how this turns out, I am happy to see Game Freak at least separate from that core thing that they have done for so long at this point, and at least try something new. If it flops, I guarantee they go back to the same formula that they know. But it's a Pokemon game, and I don't think there's a chance in hell this actually flops. Like, it may not sell as well as some of the other ones, but yeah, it's still Pokemon at the end of the day. It's still gonna sell like crazy. It doesn't matter. It could be a dog shit game, and it will still sell like crazy.
I think the difference too on this is, and for your kids is, I think it's easy to control a Pokemon game, and I think this adds more complexity to it. Like, I look at this as this is for the older crowd, Pokemon players. I don't really look at it as like this should not be an intro to somebody for Pokemon. This is like, you're a fucking vet.
I agree.
And also, we sit there and like Pokemon Go's still fucking huge, right? And people still do it a ton, and they got used to AR and walking around, and they're like, why the fuck can't I do this in the game? Why would I play a normal top-down style one when I can just go out and catch Pokemon in my own fucking park and stuff like that? So I don't know. It's fascinating to me. I'll be very interested to see how this goes, and I'll be even more interested to see if we get a sequel to this in a couple of years. And if or fuck, maybe we're just gonna get this thing where we have, now that we have 3 kind of series of Pokemon, we get your standard Pokemon like Sword and Shield style, and that's like the normal Pokemon going forward. And then you've got Pokemon Legends, which is a more deeper RPG and more about stamping and collecting things and going out for hours on end trying to find stuff, hunting them. And then you have your Hey You Pikachu and Hey You Eevee, right?
Yeah, your remake type deal, right?
Or Let's Go Pikachu, not Hey You. Hey You's the fucking N64 title where you scream into the microphone and it never worked.
I hope they don't continue with the Let's Go
There's
series.
rumors that they're going to come out with sequels.
Yeah, I don't think that's awful, but the problem is it was like a weird way to remake the original games, and now they've done that, but they've also remade a lot of the other games over the course of the years too. So I mean, at a certain point, how many times can you remake these games and relaunch them? But
I always looked at them. I looked at the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee as like entry level Pokemon games.
Yeah,
that's what I looked at it as. I looked at it as like, okay, so who hasn't played a Pokemon game yet? We will have the option for the motion control ball in there just to make it,
that's
whatever, cliche, and give
awful.
you carpal tunnel, right?
Yeah.
But I think I always looked at it as just like almost like a big tutorial on how to play Pokemon, and then you can go into the because I mean the problem with us, right, is that like we started life with Pokemon, and Pokemon started life with us, and as we went through the complexities of all these different regions and the mechanics in the game and different stuff, it's evolved like crazy, no pun intended. But like, from fucking Pokemon, like in my time, from Pokemon, I don't know, like Yellow, right, to fucking Emerald, the differences in shit in those games was absurd. Nowadays, and then you throw in then you go to the diamond stuff. Holy shit! You start getting into the shinies now, and all. I mean, it's insane, right? So
right.
I think those were just games to get people familiarized with like, hey, you catch stuff, you move on, and then they can go through the chronological order if they like, and get through the stuff of like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go play like Soul Silver, Heart Gold, stuff like that.
And the other kind of strange thing about with this game, and like you said, this is an offshoot game, so there is going to be a decent chunk of the people who normally would pick up a Pokemon game that are not going to be interested in this, because there's a lot of people that are diehard into like the competitive battling scene, and then there's also a good chunk of people that are into like the Pokemon breeding scene, where you're like constantly like hatching eggs to get shinies of different versions, and then you like go out and trade. Like all of that is its own realm as well, which I actually got into that a little bit in Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
So like I finished that game, or by the time I set that game down, I had over 80 hours in it, and the last like 30 hours of it was nothing but Pokemon breeding until I was like, okay, I'm done. I've had enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that's the cool thing about it, where Pokemon is, you have your base level of like people can go in and just play through the story, especially like kids and you know the younger audience, go through, play the story, done.
Sure.
And then you have the competitive battling scene where you're constantly trying. I mean, that involves some of the breeding too, where you're trying to get like the best IVs and things like that.
This thing seemed to me like if you don't want to go outside and play Pokemon Go, like here you go around, and I understand these RPG elements, but like part of it is go run around this field, but everything looks really empty. There's towns, but it's like, oh, want to go catch, you know, a grass type Pokemon? Go run around this field and forest for hours.
Right.
And it's not that big. It's all, you know, it's a classic Nintendo open world where it's like, here we go. We're in the area. There's a lake over here, and then the whole place goes like this. Well, there's mountains to keep you in the area. I mean, you know, it's kind of cheesy, I think, but
yeah,
it's also limited. I get it. I understand. So,
yeah, I agree. I'm interested to see what people have to say about it, and by people I mean actual people that are playing it rather than reviewers. Because half the time reviewers can't even figure out how to jump in games. I'm not too worried about it.
Oh, no.
You remember that with the whole Cuphead thing?
Yes.
God.
Hey, they're the trusted news sources, dude. You know? Gotta keep it locked in on them.
Uh-huh.
All right? Jesus. All right. Well, guys, that'll do it for this episode. If you want to follow us on social.
Oh, there was one more thing.
What other thing was there?
Just a super quick thing.
Oh,
the Steam Deck finally has a launch date.
Oh, yes. Shit.
Yeah, because there for a while this was entirely up in the air. So Steam just put out a quick little thing the other day that the Steam Deck is launching on February 25th. It says they'll be sending out the first batch of order emails to reservation holders, and customers will have 3 days from receipt of their order from receipt of their order email to make their purchase before the reservation is released to the next person in the queue. So, you looking out for that email?
I don't know if it's all NVMe ones, the 526 or 512, whatever. They had a really weird gig size.
Yeah.
A lot of people are getting that theirs are going to be shipping in Q2 for the NVMEs as well. So I don't know if some of those are going to be going out on the 28th or if not, but I saw multiple people post on Twitter that theirs says Q2, which would constitute April to June.
Gotcha.
Which would be shitty.
What's so strange about this is how they're saying it's launching on February 25th, but they're sending out the emails on the 25th to where then you have to respond to it and actually purchase it, and then so you won't actually get it on the 25th, but press review embargoes will lift on the 25th as well.
Oh, great.
There's a lot of weird
someone can
things
tell
about
me
this.
about the fucking thing I'm waiting on.
Right, the thing that you would have had to have purchased at this point in order to get it.
Okay,
or
so
else you're
basically you're on a wait list, and then when you get your email, that's your ticket to be able to then purchase it.
Uh-huh, pretty much.
My question is this, and I don't want to sound like an asshole, but like, for the people who bought the most expensive one, why the fuck are they getting those later than the cheaper ones?
I don't know.
If that's the case. Like, that would be
odd.
kind of like the opposite thing I would do as a company.
I would assume a lot of that has to do with just being able to get the parts.
I guess, but like,
I mean,
what the fuck?
SSDs aren't super hard to get right now.
No,
nor are they
and
crazy expensive.
But it's like, you know, it's like it's like going to like a used car lot, and then they're saying to you, hey, we'll get back to you next week about that, and I'll deliver your car. I've got like 5 Corollas to deliver first, so
Yeah.
if you can stand back, I'll get you your M5, in about a week to you, but I need to deliver this Corolla real quick. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
So
necessarily the right thing to do.
I agree. I absolutely
Not
agree.
sound like an asshole, but
Additional details for the curious. We will start sending invites shortly after 10 a.m. on February 25th Pacific Standard Time. Order emails are sent in the same order that reservations were made. You can only order the Steam Deck model that you originally reserved, and your reservation deposit will be applied to the final price of the Steam Deck, and shipping costs are included. So,
thank
I'm
God shipping's
interested.
included.
Yeah, right? On potentially a very expensive piece of hardware, depending on which model you got. But anyway, I've seen like some super early reviews of this, or not really reviews, but like some very limited tech demo stuff. Like Linus Tech Tips did a video on it when it was shortly after it was announced, and that was interesting to see. But at the same time, like I'm curious to see how this goes after it gets into the hands of the general public, and hopefully it doesn't go the way of the awesome Steam controller,
Oh God,
where it's become a paperweight.
I'm very weary of it. First of all, it looks like a fucking Game Gear. It probably weighs the same amount, and except it doesn't take 8 AAA or AA batteries in the back of it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious about it too. Like, they're not the greatest with hardware.
No.
Both from a marketing perspective, but I mean, this is the first piece of hardware that actually like just takes Steam, which is what is popular for them, and allows people to play it on the go or in a portable setting.
Yeah.
Versus, Steam controller was like, why would I want this as a PC player? I understand that it's like, no, you can be a console player. It's like, but that's not why people buy consoles. They buy it because it's cheaper.
Right.
They don't want to buy, a $2,000 or $3,000 fucking computer and then sit on their couch with the controller and play it because they have the fucking PC now. They would have just went out and bought the cheaper console. And then
I've thought about that only because I did grow up using consoles, and I have to adapt to mouse and keyboard, and it's going to be a hell of a learning curve.
Yeah, but you can also nowadays, right, Bluetooth your fucking Xbox controller or PlayStation controller, your computer as well, map it. But, yeah, and then like what they had, was it Steam Deck?
Yeah.
No, sorry, I'm mixing up. Not the handheld, the box. Was it the Steam box?
I think was it the Stream Deck? I don't remember.
Maybe something like that.
Nick,
they did that.
Nick will tell us in the chat here.
That wasn't big. So yeah, I'm curious on that. I do actually have one more little tiny piece of whatever before we go. You reminded me of it. We witnessed today, actually I think yesterday technically, the worst business decision I've ever seen in my life, and single-handedly kill the brand overnight for no apparent reason. So Facebook obviously renamed itself the Meta, right? Which is still Facebook, and I'll still call them Facebook because I fucking hate their platform, and I think that they're a giant piece of shit. So I'm still going to call them Facebook. So Facebook Meta basically decided, boy, we made that great, just incredible investment years and years and years ago into something called Oculus. And now it's become the biggest VR brand in the entire world in a segment in VR, which one is hard for consumers to understand what the fuck it is. Two, it's hard for adoption. And three, there's no brand notoriety in that entire segment of that industry, okay? Achieves all three, no problem. Becomes the #1 selling fucking thing on Christmas, tech-wise, okay, for kids. And it's under everyone's trees, becomes the #1 downloaded app on fucking Christmas Day and the day after Christmas, okay? They decide today it's not going to be called Oculus anymore. It's just going to be called Meta. It's the Meta Quest.
Jeez.
Fucking single-handedly killed a fucking well-performing brand overnight for no fucking reason. Everyone knew what it was.
don't understand that fucking company. I hope it.
I understand
I'm
the
sorry,
company.
but
do you know what
fucking hate.
Do you know what
company.
it is? I'll tell you exactly what it is. Is Facebook's fucking dying. They're going,
Yes.
fuck. We need to create something that is akin to the .com fucking bubble and sell people on this fucking metaverse shit. Let's name ourselves Meta during this time. A perfect
Which is
applicable
dumb.
time during COVID when people were remote working and still kind of remote working, right? They just shut down their fucking crypto side like the other day.
Yeah.
They're not doing the crypto coin anymore, which is great because Facebook was basically trying to go into third world fucking countries, put their currency in there, and take over those fucking countries' currencies with their currency. So thank God that ended. Now they're trying to strap shit to people's fucking faces and get people to work from fucking home forever while they talk to Denise on the other side and try to write on a virtual fucking whiteboard on which, first of all, I don't understand that either. Right? Who the fuck uses a whiteboard nowadays anyways? So why the fuck would I need it in a supposedly technologically advanced program? We're going to go back, like, am I going to use a fucking abacus next? Instead of just fucking...
I mean, like, we use a little bit of some whiteboard stuff, but it's mainly for, like, a rough sketch of something we're trying to design, right? Like, from like almost an engineering standpoint. But other than that, nah, I'm good.
Right. So we use whiteboard technology, but it's like everyone joins in on the software and then we can draw stuff and it's on the computer and you can see it all together. It's like, boy, let me reach my fucking arm up virtually here and start scribbling, draw cock and balls on the fucking thing or whatever. Like, I just fucking hate that company. God.
Absolutely.
So
I wholeheartedly agree.
Fucking annoying. It's ridiculous. God, it's just a bunch of fucking old people now sharing memes from like 5 years ago and fucking cat videos. Oh my God.
Hey, that is where Matthew Grant gets his memes.
He, quote, the freshest and dopest memes. the stalest memes possible.
That now come from the metaverse.
Exactly. Anyways, guys, that'll do it for this episode. If you want to find us on social media, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Diggity Podcast. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we go live on YouTube and Twitch every Thursday evening, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can catch the audio version of this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts, you name it. We are everywhere. Spotify, whatever you listen to, you can access our podcast on it. The audio version of each week's episode goes up 5 a.m. every Friday morning. We schedule it, so listen for that. Thank you so much, by the way. We're slowly but surely growing on unique listens and stuff like that. Thanks to all the fucking people in France. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank
Huge
you,
shout
France.
out to
One day,
France.
maybe we'll make it out to France one day. We'll get off the plane and we'll be greeted by a parade with some fucking macarons, baguettes, and,
I'm down.
wine and stuff. But yeah, no, we're growing, and thank you so much for that. We're working on some cool stuff in the back end as well right now as a group, and we should have some cool news going forward with that as well. And with that,